Hey all, I'm here at Seattle International Airport, or as we call it around here, SeaTac. And I am just about to get on a plane. Not this plane that's pushing back, but the one over there that we can't see because the boarding gates are in the way. And I'm going to Denver. Well, that's where I'm flying to. That is not my final destination. This is going to be a really long day. Okay, so I made it to Denver, and I'm waiting for my rental car. Now, normally when I get a rental car, I get the cheapest, most fuel-efficient car I can get, but I intentionally did not. What's that all about? Well, why am I here? I'm here for a friend's wedding. Turns out this friend wants to have her wedding somewhere special, and the somewhere special is in a fancy schmancy ski resort that only has super expensive hotels. And by super expensive, I mean minimum $250 per night. Well, you know me, I'm not going to do that. So, hence my willingness to upgrade my rental car. The idea is I'm going to sleep in the back of a rental car on a forest road because this place is up in the mountains. So we'll see how this works.
And by the way, this is what I brought with me to Colorado. Just one carry-on suitcase and one backpack. Everything I needed fit in there. I did not have to pay the extra however much to check a bag. Okay, so at this point I had some lovely video of me driving the rental car, and I was using my action cam to record myself talking about my plans while I drove up I-70. Unfortunately, the road noise on that is horrible. I clearly need to do more work on getting a good microphone, good sound for instances like this. So even though I'll drop a little clip of that in later, I'm just going to talk, and you can see what my action cam captured through the front of the windshield as I was driving up to Crested Butte. So I had reserved a compact SUV for a particular reason, which is that I wanted something that I would be sure the seats folded flat in. So I have napped really, not really slept for a night in the back of a Nissan Versa. And even though the seats folded down, they weren't really flat. Like there was a huge drop off between the back of the seat and the trunk area. And that's also the way it is in my kid's car, which is a completely different make and model. So I was just a little worried about renting a sedan or a hatchback in general. So I figured I could pay a little extra for a compact SUV. It would still be less than $500 for 2 nights, which is what I would have to pay in Crested Butte. For me, that seemed like the best choice. So of course I get to the rental car counter and they are out of compact SUVs. I don't know why car companies do this. So they upgraded me to this Dodge Durango. So here's where I drop in that clip of me driving and talking, just so you can see what the Durango looks like. It's just a really huge car. I just want to say that one concern I had was that the mileage was going to be horrible because I had researched Durangos as a possibility when I was buying an SUV in grad school, and the mileage was horrible. But evidently they have an option now where the engine shuts off when you're idling at a stoplight, and that actually does great things for the gas mileage. I mean, it's still only about 25 miles per gallon, at least that's what I was getting, but that's a lot better than what I looked at when I was researching Durangos, 10 or 15 years ago. I think the mileage was like 15 miles per gallon back then. It was ridiculously low. So this ended up not being a horrible option. So the way Siri routed me to Crested Butte was up over Cottonwood Pass, which was a way I had never gone before. I had always gone to that part of Colorado over Monarch Pass, and I definitely prefer Cottonwood. So I got to the top of the pass just as the light was fading. I figured if I got a reasonable amount down the road from the pass, I should be able to make it to my appointment in Crested Butte the following morning. So I basically drove until it was past dark and I found a campsite. Good morning. Look at this nice campsite I found. That's the county road I was driving on last night. I could have gone further up, as you can see. But it was dark, and this was good. This is an actual campsite. See, we've got a fire ring here. It's gonna be a really nice day. Just want to show you what it looks like to sleep in the back of a Durango. Here's my inflatable pad. It's just some cheap pad I got off Amazon. It actually worked really well. I was surprised. Now, this isn't the fancy, expensive kind that has the reflective stuff inside. Its sole purpose is to keep me comfortable because I'm too old to sleep on that. I was actually pretty toasty. Yeah, in the sleeping bag, I managed to get it zipped. I have slept in this 4 times now, and no, 5. 3 out of the 5 times I've been able to get it zipped all the way up. So, yeah, but in terms of size, you can see the pad fits basically exactly. And I think this is a 6-foot long pad. I'm not sure. But that tells you how much room you have. I suppose if you had a Durango and you had a lot of stuff, you could pack this up for taller people. So this, I mean, it looks like a decent car to sleep in. Well, now I'm gonna shut up, turn off the camera, and pack while I listen to the beautiful bird song. Then I'm gonna get going because I love driving early in the morning when there's no one around. Wow, I am shocked at how easy that was to deflate after years of using like one of those self-inflating camping pads where you have to like squeeze all the air out. Yeah, this thing has a valve that has multiple things. So this, if you open this, everything comes out. And then there's this. If you pop that open, that's the inflating valve. And it works perfectly. It comes with an inflation bag where you basically fill the thing with air. And then you roll it up and squeeze the air out the bottom into the bag. And that worked pretty well. It worked great, and it's pretty compact. I am definitely going to use this in the future when I can't hammock camp. This was a great purchase, and it wasn't really that expensive. I'll drop the cost of that right here, so you can see. Made it to Cottonwood Pass, not quite 6 o'clock. And look at that. Ooh. Oh. I'm the only one up here, which is pretty unusual. I did pass 2 other cars on the side of the road, so not the only one sleeping up here. Wow. So let's talk about my sleeping bag. I complained about it in my previous video, and yet I still took it with me. So what's up with that? I tried to bring my big sleeping bag, my -20 Kelty, really old Kelty. It's ginormous. Words cannot explain how huge this thing is, and maybe I'll drop a picture of how big it is here as a reminder. Next to the sleeping bag I did bring, my Big Agnes, the 20-degree Big Agnes one. But you can see this thing would not fit in my carry-on, even if I had filled my entire carry-on with it. Like, I would not have been able to zip my carry-on shut. So, like I said, I just figured I would try it. Like, how bad could it be? And I think I would have been warm enough because the car helps trap heat in, unlike being in a hammock with a rain fly. I mean, the one thing about that previous visit, it was a kind of a windy day, and the wind was getting in under the rain fly, and so it was blowing right into me. And so I thought, in a car I wouldn't have that issue. But the problem again is that zipper sticks, and it's not like it gets stuck on the baffle or anything. Like, you feel, and it's like, no, there's no obvious way that this is sticking. It's also really tight on me. So one of the nice things about my -20 Kelty is it's a tall sleeping bag. It's designed for big people. I bought those bags when I was in grad school on a budget. I got them from the Sierra outlet for a very low price. But I knew that, at least 2 of my boys were 6 feet at that time or over. And I knew that the other 2 would probably get close, if not beat it. Right. And I was correct. So if the zipper ever gets stuck on the baffle or anything in those sleeping bags, it's not a big deal because, I have room. It's made for larger people. And I am large, right? I'm not a petite woman, right? I'm tall. I'm probably at the limit of the height of what you can use that bag for, because I can barely get the hood over my head at 5'9". And then I'm also not that skinny, right? So there's just not much wiggle room for me to try and feel around and figure out what's going on with the zipper. So a lot of times, I struggle with it. By the time I get in my sleeping bag, it's already dark. And I can't, like, maneuver my phone flashlight or anything to see what's going on, because I can't do that and zip it up. So I can get it, up to like my hip. But once I start trying to zip above my hip, then it's really hard to close. So if I struggle enough and I get it closed, it's not bad, but I just can't, right? I need a bag for a bigger person. And that is something I don't see a lot of people talking about in the backpacking or camping YouTube community. They're always just like, oh, buy this bag or whatever. And that's something you have to think about. It's not that you can't get large bags, but the question is, can you get them at reasonable prices? You can get a larger bag at a reasonable price, because I did. I think I paid $40 or $50 for those -20 Kelty bags, but they're not compact, right? So I feel like there are 3 things, like warm, compact, and cheap, and you can only get 2 of the 3, right? And I think that's especially true if you're looking for a specialty bag, like a big and tall bag. That's my take on the Big Agnes bag. I think I'm going to sell it on eBay, and I'm going to look into getting something else. But I'm not as poor as I was in grad school, but I don't think I could spend more than $150 on a sleeping bag. So yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure about what I'm going to do. So I just wanted to share a few thoughts that I have about how this trip went and how I would do it differently in the future. First of all, I wish I could have stayed longer. My original plan was to drive down in Bologna and bring my dog with me. The reason I wanted to do that is, well, A, so I would have a place I knew I could sleep. B, because rental cars are not quite down to where they were pre-pandemic. C, I could bring a bunch of stuff with me, right? So again, I packed everything into my backpack and a carry-on, which did not allow me a lot of room. So this video is kind of shaky, and the reason it's kind of shaky is because like my gimbal and everything, like I couldn't fit that in my carry-on. My carry-on was mostly, it was really light. It was mostly my sleeping bag and my inflatable pad, and then
my sandals for the wedding because I could not wear my hiking shoes to a wedding. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not going to do that. I also brought my hammock, but stupidly, I did not think to bring the tree straps. And there definitely was no room for my underquilt. For the future, could I have done a longer trip by renting a car and taking stuff with me and sleeping in the back of the rental car? I think the answer is yes. I would have had to check a bag, right? I would have had to essentially take my big duffel bag and pack it full of everything I needed. So I may do that in the future, especially if I'm going places with trees where I can hammock camp. I don't need to bring a tent. Yeah.
Well, I hope this has given you food for thought as to how you can boondock in a rental car. Now, enjoy this footage I took of cows moving up Taylor Canyon to their summer pasture along the highway.